so we are at the 20th anniversary of Tales of the Cocktail.
Yeah, Tales is in its junior year of college right now.
It's crazy. They're almost able to buy whiskey.
I know.
Mine's real close.
Right, Tales can almost drink.
It's almost drinking time at Tales. So when did you get in town?
I got in town Saturday night.
Okay.
I hadn't planned on arriving early, but Margie Lehrman, who's president of the ACSA, sort of strongly encouraged me to show up, and I know what I'm being told what to do, and I know when to listen. We picked up Innovator of the Year at ACSA this year, so very proud of that.
That's fantastic.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So why? Yeah, let's kick it off. How did tell us the story of SOREL?
So,
Am I saying it right? First of all,
that's a good question, and I will get back to that.
Okay.
It is called SOREL, and I'll talk to you about why it's called that in a moment. So if you go back thousands of years, Africans were taking hibiscus flowers and making tea out of it. It was incredibly healthy. It's full of antioxidants, it's full of antimicrobials, it's a natural antifungal, it's a natural anti-inflammatory, it's a natural aphrodisiac, and this tea was part of their ceremony and their tradition. And then right around the start of the 1600s, the transatlantic slave trade starts, and bodies and spices are moved up unwillingly across the ocean and traded in ports in the Caribbean. So this flower takes literal root in the Caribbean because the people who know what to do with it have been moved alongside the flower.
and brought it.
There are no recipes from this time because the people who were making this drink weren't allowed to read or write.
Right.
You could only pass it down orally. You could watch your grandmother or your mother make it. And every version in every island was different based on what spices were being traded in that island. So if you went to Jamaica, for example, there was a high influx of Asian indentured servants. So you would get hibiscus with ginger and cardamom and allspice and of course rum. If you went deeper into the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, they had a high influx of East Indian indentured servants. So you'd get, again, hibiscus, but with cinnamon and nutmeg and clove. Not as much rum as the Jamaicans. The Trinis aren't as big a drinkers as the Jamaicans. Nobody is. My grandparents came to America from Barbados in 1920. So rum and everything in Barbados. You have a cold, rum. You have a toothache, rum. You break your leg, rum.
Right.
It's a cure-all.
I was making a version of this in my kitchen, like a good Caribbean boy, for friends and family for almost 20 years. And then 12 years ago, I had a cancer scare. My doctor found a tumor inside my spine, size of a golf ball. He said, you have a 95% chance of death and a 50% chance of paralysis if you live. You should organize your paperwork. I lived.
Yeah. There you go.
This interview would be really awkward if I had.
It would be. It would be terrible if you were dead right now.
It's like watching a prequel where you know which people lived and which people don't survive right. Yeah.
With the ghost of Jackie Summers on Texas whiskey.
Listen, if we're in NOLA, zombies are a thing. It's all good.
That's true.
That's true. You don't know if you're talking to a ghost you're sitting in New Orleans. That's true.
This is very true. But the experience permanently changed my perspective. It gave me the opportunity to re-examine my values and what was important to me. I had 25 years invested in corporate America. What I really wanted to do is day drink. I just want to meet cool people in the middle of my day, in the middle of the week. I want to have great conversation over great food and beverage. And when I couldn't think who was going to pay me to enjoy that lifestyle, I launched a liquor brand.
Jackie, you're my new hero. When you say you just want to get paid to day drink, I'm like, I know we just met, but we're kindred spirits, dude. Like, if the sun is out, pour me a cocktail. Let's have a conversation. Don't make me start at 8 o'clock at night. What is wrong with right now?
8 o'clock at night, I want to be comfortable.
It's night.
No.
You're my new best friend, dude.
God bless the kids who want to start at 11 o'clock at night. Did it, not interested anymore.
Me either.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with a 12:30 cocktail, you know?
But here's the thing. Afternoon drinking is leisurely. It's
It is.
not about how trash can we get. It's about can we enjoy each other's company?
Absolutely.
And it's a different style and kind of drinking, I really believe. What I didn't know, and what I couldn't have known at the time, is when I got my license to make liquor in 2012, I was the only black person in America with a license to make liquor.
Are you shitting
Dude,
me?
seriously, yeah.
What year was this?
Straight up.
2012.
2012. Isn't that
Holy
crazy?
cow.
Yeah.
It turns out I am the first legal black distiller post-Prohibition. And I always put that footnote in because we know people did it before Prohibition, but the records have been obscured to the point where we don't know. We can't prove.
Right.
So my DSP is an historical document.
Wow.
So what was even the process? So you
Lots of failure.
Yeah.
Just the joke I tell at this point is if you think you have an idea so good that no one's ever thought of it before, it's probably
there might be a
terrible
reason.
idea.
There might be a reason.
There's probably a reason. No one's ever done this before. This beverage has been around for 5 centuries. No one ever tried to make it shelf stable and put it into a bottle. I'm not a food scientist. I'm not a chemist. I barely graduated high school. 623 failures in my kitchen.
Wow.
And I gotta tell you, around the 500th failure, I was questioning my life choices.
Like, most people are like, 1, 2, this isn't gonna work. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, and I believe this with all my heart. The level of persistence that it took to keep this beverage part of the cultural diaspora was worth the effort that it would take to bring it out to the public. It went through so much in order to preserve this cultural identifier, and you can go all across the Afro-Caribbean diaspora, and people are familiar with what they think of as the red drink. The red drink starts with hibiscus flowers. So in that aspect, I didn't feel I had a right to quit, and I still don't feel I got a right to quit. Just way too much has been done to pave the road for me to do this. So I'm grateful, and I try to keep that perspective every day.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like something bigger than you.
Oh, the story is much bigger than me.
Yeah.
And I always say this, this isn't my story. The story predates me by centuries. I am the steward of this story for this generation. I am more than happy to be an historical footnote as long as the story continues. The story is what counts here.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing to me that not only are you the first African American with a DSP, legal DSP, but this is your product. You're not making fucking strawberry vodka or something that just happened to the fact that it is historical. I'm so glad that it's this. I mean, it matters.
I remember being a child. I remember being 5 years old, and my parents would take me every Labor Day weekend to a West Indian Day parade in New York City. They would shut down Eastern Parkway, and there's 2 million people of Caribbean descent out in the street, and there's floats, and there's music, and there's costumes, and there's dancing, but the food. I mean, I remember being a kid, and there's beef patties, and there's roti, and there's
Was it red drink all over?
Absolutely.
Cool.
But, I was a kid, so it was non-alcoholic back then. But I remember thinking to myself, this is who I am. Like, this food is me. So the beverage that I wanted to create couldn't have been anything else. I had no desire, and I still have no desire, to do a rum, a vodka, a whiskey. God bless the people who are out there doing it well.
Yep.
There was a single cultural identifier for me, and I felt it should be in a bottle. And the other tricky part about that is it had to be really good. Because if it wasn't, the entire diaspora would be calling out evil on my name.
Right.
Because you're introducing this to a culture of people that don't know the history, that aren't familiar with it. So this is their first impression of this story that predates you, that's bigger than you. And so there is this huge responsibility as if I'm going to introduce this to a culture outside of my own, I got to get it right.
And everyone, and I really do mean everyone in the diaspora, makes their own version of this, and they all think theirs is the best.
Of course they
Sure.
do.
Yeah.
Mine is the best. and that's with all respect to the mothers and grandmothers and the aunties who've made this for centuries and kept tradition alive. I was able to make it shelf stable, and I was able to balance out some of the problems with hibiscus-based beverages. Hibiscus is a monster to work with.
It's a bitch.
It's so acidic.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
tart that most people just bury it in sugar, and the result is syrupy and cloying and just not fun. My version has Moroccan hibiscus, Nigerian ginger, Indonesian cinnamon and nutmeg, and Brazilian clove. So the clove is for brightness, the cinnamon is for warmth, the nutmeg is the dry finish in the back, and the ginger almost perfectly masks the alcohol. So you never feel like you're drinking. You just feel like you're drinking.
What's the proof?
It's only 15%. It's
Right.
30 proof.
Cool.
And it's meant traditionally to be consumed straight over ice.
Gotcha.
Maybe a splash of lime. But it turns out that it's the most versatile spirit on the market. You can mix it with gin, vodka, rum, mezcal, tequila, scotch, whiskey, rye, sake, sparkling wine.
Damn.
Wow.
It does one thing especially well, and that is mask alcohol and push flavor forward. So, if you put it with gin, you'll get more floral notes. If you put it with anything that's been aged, you get more barrel notes. You put it with agave products, tequila or mezcal, you get more fruit notes. So it's like
That's
that.
awesome.
It's like that friend that's always got your back.
Yeah.
It doesn't get in the way.
The amplifier, yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Salt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Salt.
Yeah,
Cocktail salt. Like, yeah, it enhances everything that it touches. That's
the
really
flavor
cool.
enhancer.
Yeah, absolutely. So what happened? What's kind of the story?
Like the first run of it, and then the Uncle Nearest thing. Secondly, so can you tell me kind of the
Sure.
evolution of the brand and sort of where you are now? And
So I launched SOREL in 2012 to terrific acclaim. The New York Times called it Christmas in a Bottle.
Awesome.
Star Magazine put it on the celebrity page, called it Caribbean Sunshine in a Bottle. We got up to about 20 states and 4 countries, and it was really just me and my VP Summer doing everything back then.
Right.
We got approached by a large company to take the brand national, signed a deal, they reneged. Got into a bidding war with several other large companies, signed a deal, they reneged.
Fun.
Actually not fun. I was homeless for a year and a half.
Holy smokes.
Oh yeah, it's a funny thing about when the cash flow dries up. It's really difficult to sustain a business.
Crazy how that works.
And no one cares.
Yeah.
No one cares that your cash flow just dried up. You just have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spent a year and a half trying to figure out where I was going to sleep while I was pitching to investors. So it wasn't unusual for me to have to wake up in the morning and figure out I need a shower, I need a shave, and I need to get car fare so I can get to this meeting for an investor meeting. I've got this distinct memory of December 2017 of waking up to the unique sensation of snowflakes melting on my face, which sounds idyllic, except I was in New York City, outside. And my first thought was not, I need to get somewhere warm. My first thought was, I need to charge my phone, because I'm writing an essay. I committed myself to community in the years that SOREL was off the market.
Yep.
But I was writing an essay for Plate magazine, and my first thought was, I need to get somewhere, I need to plug in my phone so I can finish this essay and meet my deadline. Because if I miss my deadline, I won't have money for an apartment. And that essay actually won Best Food Essay for the American Journalists Association that year. So
Yeah.
I'm in the process again of talking to investors with limited success. And then in 2020, George Floyd was murdered. And there was, for a moment, a general consensus that Black Lives Matter. I got a call from a friend of mine named Jeff Gardner, who used to be the restaurant critic for Esquire, and he said to me, Jack, do people know that you were the first legal black distiller? I said, Jeff, nobody cares.
Right.
He said, maybe they'll care now that they think that racism is a real thing.
It is now the moment to care. Yeah. Jeez.
So there was an article in Esquire magazine about me being the first black distiller in the summer of 2020, which led to renewed investor interest. But this time I was careful to make sure that my contract was properly claused so that I couldn't be taken advantage of.
Right.
I'm in what I thought was the final stages of negotiation with this investor group, and they tried to change the language of our contract.
Just okay.
So I reached out to my attorney and I literally said, do words have meaning? Because these are the words of our contract, and this is what they're trying to do. And my attorney assured me, yes, words have meaning. So I did something that's difficult for me and something I'm continuing to work on, and I reached out and asked for help. I knew Fawn Weaver from the speaking circuit. Now, Fawn is the CEO of Uncle Nearest, which is both the most awarded American whiskey of all time and the fastest growing whiskey brand in America. And Fawn was very quietly helping 20 other black-owned brands because it's what she does. She's that kind of a human being. She wants to make sure everyone's got the same opportunities she has. I reached out to Fawn and I said, I've hit a stumbling block with my investors. Can you offer any advice? What I didn't know and what I couldn't have known is literally the day before, Fawn was doing an interview and she mentioned how many brands she's helping. And the interviewer said, are you helping Jackie? And Fawn said, Jack don't need my help, he's fine. And the interviewer said, talk to Jack, he needs your help.
Jeez.
So we had this meeting where we were always going to somehow come together.
Right.
Within 24 hours of my conversation with Fawn, we had a guarantee of funding.
Wow.
Amazing.
And we have been on a freight train since then.
When was that?
That was the beginning of the summer of 2021.
Jeez.
So
my God.
We officially announced that we were back in June of last year. We put product back into the market in September of last year. We'll be in 22 states by the end of this year. Wow. And we have won 24 so far gold or better awards in international competition.
Man.
Best of class, best of category, best in show, platinum, triple gold, double gold, gold.
These are just attached to your hand now, just in general.
It's like Super Bowl rings.
Right.
Which one is he going to wear that day?
I try not to take this for granted, and I tell my team all the time, this is unusual. You cannot ever get used to this. But it's meaningful for me for two important reasons. The first is, this is a beverage that, again, has this great cultural significance. So this is the first time that people who are outside of the community are tasting and going, holy shit, this is good. So in the sense of for the culture, it feels very reaffirming. The other thing that feels very good is Fawn Weaver believed in me when nobody else did. And in a general sense, I don't give a fuck what people care, what people think about me. I want to make Fawn proud and to make sure she knows every day that when she invested in me, she did the right thing. Yeah. There are different ways of measuring success. This is interesting, but what's really useful to me is rewarding the faith of the people who believed in you. That's success.
Awesome.
You got a lot of people, man. You got a lot of people that look up to you and look up to the way that you're doing things, and it's
And I am
impressive as fuck.
I am trying to honor the expectations.
I know.
I really am.
I know. That's my favorite thing about you is the way that you go about this. Like, yeah.
Well, this much you know, the more acclaim you receive, the more you have to be aware of your limitations. The second you start believing your own hype, you head down a path where nobody will care how well you've done. You just can't we're not in the liquor business. We're in the relationship business. I'll never forget, in 2018, I gave a talk at ADI called Nobody Wants to Drink Your Shit. And I told a room full of distillers, congratulations. You got your license, you built out your distillery, you put your juice on the bottle, you got TDB proof for your label. Nobody cares. You think you're in the liquor business, but you're not.
Right.
You're in the relationship business. And you could have the best juice on earth. If you're an asshole, nobody wants to drink your shit.
Yep.
So learn how to start and maintain good relationships. So in that sense, I am glad that I get to continue to contribute to my community.
Yeah.
Because that is always the most important thing as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and you said something before we started filming in the other room, that you always want to feel like the beginner. You always want to feel like, know how you felt at the beginning. And I just think that's rare because I had a mentor one time tell me the problem with success is a little bit. Because the minute you get a little bit and you don't stay coachable, you don't stay teachable. And right when we sat down before we came in here and you were like, look, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to continue to grow. I want to continue to learn from other people. And I just respect that so much because, sitting here and listening to this, this rise, obviously there was a lot of, years put in, struggle put in, but then to have this, burst of success, man, not everybody always approaches it that way of, hey, this is a long game and I have to continue to learn. I have to continue to remember what it was like from the very beginning as well.
I mean, it only took you 10 years to be an overnight success.
Well, there are several things going on. The first is I'm a practicing Taoist. And Taoism teaches that you're always supposed to strive to be the empty cup. So if I walk into a room thinking I know everything, what am I there to learn? And I always want to be the person in the room who's the most receptive to learning. The other thing is, like you said, you can't trip over your own dick. Success will get in your way if you let it. There's so much it needs to happen in order for the metals to translate into consumer appreciation. We need to have marketing. We need to have distribution. We need to make sure that our supply chains are solid. There's all this stuff going on in the background that keeps you aware. Yes, you have recognition, but the job is not to recognize. The job is to put the product out there and tell the story. And if we do that successfully, then we're doing what we're supposed to do.
Are you in Texas?
Yes, actually, we got approval for Texas this morning.
Hell yes.
Hey,
Beautiful.
the timing on that.
Paperwork
Beautiful.
This morning.
Beautiful.
We are coming to Texas.
Right on. Who's your distributor?
RNDC.
Perfect. Awesome.
Well,
Let's blow it up. Let's get it all over.
I will tell you that I'm
whatever I can do.
Surprised at the pace that everything's moving. We're launching 14 markets this quarter.
Cool.
I've been in 3 time zones in the last 8 days.
Yeah.
Of 144 possible working days this year, I've been on the road for 72. I don't expect that to be less. I expect it to be more. But I've been given so much. Like, I'm trying to make sure that I give back.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And if I don't show up, why would anybody else care?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Very cool. Man, Jackie, thank you for this time.
Yeah,
It's a good
absolutely.
story. Man, I love a good story, and this is an amazing story. Like, I know we just met, but I was just like, dude, kindred spirits here, man. I love your energy. I love the heart with which you lead things, and that it is bigger than the stuff in the bottle, right? We talk about that all the time. It's the people behind it. It's what's the story, what are the connections, and it is the relationship business. You're right.
There's so much of the liquor industry where products are made in marketing rooms, and you can tell that there are people who are disconnected from the streets. It's a saying that I use: house cats can't tell street cats what to do.
Yeah.
I'm a street cat who's adapted to house cats. The people who've only ever done it from the top of the tower will never really understand what it takes to build it from the ground up.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, a tactical advantage that I want to try to keep. I want to stay connected to the ground as much as possible. I want to put my feet on the street in different markets. I don't want to ever assume I know. Every time I walk into a restaurant, a bar, a liquor store, I want to learn what's going to help them succeed and then contribute to their success. It's the only way.
Yeah. Awesome.
Jackie, thank you for the time. This
An
has been
absolute
great.
pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Always good to see you.
Yeah,
Nico.
man. It's such a pleasure. Always. Always, man.
we had long discussions about the bottles,
Yeah.
and what wound up doing it for me. Let me give you a little bit. What wound up doing it for me was at the end of it all, I was like, I just need to be able to do this.
Yes.
This.
That's so important.
That's all I want to be able to do. This right here. That's it.
And-
Like, I don't want it to be weird. I don't want to have to do it up here. I don't want to have to.
It's gotta be bartender
that.
friendly.
I just want it that. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. Right there.
Is it stock or is it?
So it is. It's a blended Texas bourbon. I'm
No,
more.
the-
wait.
that
The bottle.
smells
My bad.
amazing.
The bottle.
Is it stock or proprietary?
No, it's stock.
Just make sure that you got your supply chain locked in.
We have a lot of them for right now. We also have options that are incredibly
It
similar.
smells amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
There's chocolate. There's leather. There's
a little bit of
tobacco.
little bit of a
a little maple syrup.
little cherry, little essence of cherry, skosh.
What's the proof?
119.4.
There's almost no ethanol on the nose at all,
No.
and that proof that's really impressive.
It's crazy. So
It's leggy.
it's 3 years old.
She's leggy.
3 years old.
She's leggy.
Texas whiskey, man.
Yeah, put
That's
that on the next batch. She's leggy.
yeah, man. Awesome. Thank you for trying it. Yes.
There's some black cherry there too.
Yeah. So we got batch 2 coming out in
There's
September.
a little burn on the finish, but not in a bad way. I think I think I would do this with a single ice cube
Yeah. Same.
and maybe an orange peel.
That's how I drink it too.
That's delicious. Congratulations, man. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, let me know when you're in Texas, and let me know what I can do. Because I'm more than happy to introduce to whoever I can introduce to.
I'm traveling the next 8 weeks straight.
Okay, that's fun.
It's a funny thing because everyone sees social media and everyone thinks that it's all interesting.
Yeah.
My lease ends on July 31st.
Oh, okay.
I'm here. I don't have a lease for August 1st.
Oh, wow.
So my house right now is half packed.
Uh-huh.
I need to get through these events and somehow get a lease signed so that when I go back home, I'll have somewhere to
Somewhere
live.
to go to. Have a home that's not just the storage unit.
Right?
Right.
How funny.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's
gosh.
always something.
That's
It's always
awesome.
something. This is amazing. I
Thank
love
you.
this.
Thank you very
I mean
much.
that.
Yeah, I will definitely try to come by the house. I'm hosting a tiny little dinner. I found out like 3 weeks ago that there's apparently 10 cases of this stuff in Houston that's slotted for wholesale, and I'm like, oh, well, thanks. Okay, thanks for telling me. So I was like, cool. Houston bartenders, come while you're in NOLA. Let's do a little thing. So
How
yeah.
can I contribute to your success? What can I do?
I don't know, but let's figure something out. Like,
Yeah.
in some capacity. Like,
Yeah.
we'll do something. Yeah, I've got. There's stuff going on. I got some ideas coming up. So,
All right.
yeah,
I'm here to help.
dude, it's same. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh man,
I love you, brother.
so good to see you. Love you too, man. It's been too long. It's really good to see you. Thank you for coming by and giving us the time.
Always.